Good morning. I want to tell you today that kids are literally the greatest thing ever. And that is an objectively true statement because kids are people and people are made in the image and likeness of God, right? And God created us as an expression of Himself, and He desires to become one with us, and He does become one with us. And His whole goal is for us to be one with Him forever in heaven. So, kids are literally the greatest things on earth. Right? And I spent some time with the 3-year-old preschoolers recently and was just talking with them, having a delightful time. We were all learning about the alphabet together, and that was a lot of fun. And at the end, I was about to do what I always do when I'm in a classroom, which is simply to say, "The Lord be with you." And we all know that the kids then would respond, "and with your spirit," and then I give them a blessing. But with the 3-year-old preschoolers, I realize it's probably not going to work for me to just say, "The Lord be with you." They would probably just stare at me, right? Because that's something that they're still learning. So in like a teaching moment type thing, I was like, "Hey, I have a question for you guys. If I say to you, 'The Lord be with you,' there's a response for that. There's something that you're supposed to say in response, and I want to know if you guys know what it is." I said, "So if I say, 'The Lord be with you,' what do you say?" And there was like this silence, and they're just kind of staring at me like I was crazy. And all of a sudden, this one little girl, she goes, "Oh," and she's getting ready to say something. I'm like, "Here it comes. Like, this is amazing. She knows it." Right. And so when I asked in response to, like, "What do you say in response to 'The Lord be with you?'" She goes, "Oh, I love rainbows and unicorns." Yep. So that's not the response. It was hilarious though. I'm like trying so hard not to laugh. I was like, "That's amazing. Oh, I love rainbows and unicorns too." And at that point I told them, I go, "So here's what it is. I say, 'The Lord be with you,' and then you're gonna say, 'and with your spirit.'" That's the response. I say, "The Lord be with you," you respond, "and with your spirit." I'm like, "Let's try it." And I say, "The Lord be with you." And every single one of them say, "The Lord be with you." They just repeated me. And then I just gave them a blessing, of course. Here's why I'm bringing this up. We need to be willing to be childlike before God, right? We need to be willing to go before the Lord and say, "I love rainbows and unicorns," right? To just speak to the Lord and tell him what's on our minds. Tell him what's on our hearts. Tell him what we love. Tell him what we're struggling with, right? And is there a quote unquote proper response to "The Lord be with you"? Yeah, it is, "and with your spirit." But I think sometimes we are so afraid to pray because we're worried that we're not going to say the right thing to God and that we're not going to pray in, let's say, like the right way. So what I'll say is, like, within the whole formality of "The Lord be with you and with your spirit," that is liturgical prayer. And what is the liturgy? It's the official prayer of the people of God, right? It's this official thing. When you're praying at home, when you just open your heart up to the Lord, that's not an official, like, rote, like, these are the proper, there isn't a proper way. St. Teresa of Avila, one of the saints that like speaks most beautifully on prayer, she said, "The best way for you to pray is the way that works for you," right? Is the way that the Lord speaks to you. I know I've said this before, but like within friendships, let's say if I were to pick out my 10 closest friends, I will tell you the way that I spend time and interact with those 10. There may be some similarity, just like there's similarity for all of us if we're praying and reaching out to God. There's going to be similarity, but the way that I interact with each of them is going to be different. And it's not because, oh, I'm a chameleon and I'm going to be somebody different. I'm fully myself, but just in different relationships, different parts of my heart get pulled out, right? And that's the exact way it is with God. That's how it is. It's a relationship between you and Him. So if you're praying, sometimes I do think we feel the pressure of like, well, I don't know how to pray and I might say the wrong thing, right? God might put something on my heart and I might respond wrong. It is perfectly fine for you to go into prayer, make the sign of the cross, and say, "God, I love rainbows and unicorns. because you're expressing your heart to him, and that's what he wants. So, best thing in the world, children, you're a child of God. Don't be afraid to be a child in his presence. Be his child today. Speak with him. Tell him what you love. Tell him what you need. Tell him that you love him. Tell the Lord, just tell him that you love him. Be with the Lord today. And most importantly, be not afraid to pray and never feel that you're praying wrong. If you're speaking to God, you're praying. And that's what matters. Have an amazing day, and God bless you.